Hello, this is Ariadne Rainbird, and today I'm going to be talking about Dionysos in the Orphic hymns part 5, the hymn number 47 to Dionysos Perikionios. Perikionios means he who is wound around the pillar, and suggests Dionysos as the grapevine or the ivy, winding around a pillar. A theme which appears in Homeric hymn number 7 to Dionysos. In the Homeric hymn, Dionysos is mistaken for a mortal prince by pirates, who capture him, hoping to obtain a high ransom. They tie him up, fastening him to the mast of the ship, but the fetters will not hold him. And all at once a vine spread out both ways along the top of the sail, with many clusters hanging down from it, and a dark ivy plant twined about the mast, blossoming with flowers, and with rich berries growing on it. And all the thole pins were covered with garlands. In Euripides, the Bacchae, Dionysos is imprisoned by Pentheus, and summons earthquakes which shake the house of Cadmus, where Pentheus is then king. Orphic hymn number 47, however, refers to Dionysos making the house of Cadmus his care, and likely refers to the story of his birth to Semele, when Zeus appeared to Semele in his fiery splendour, burning her up in his divine fire, and shaking the house of Cadmus with his thunder. The incense recommended with this hymn is simply aromatics, which allows for a range of substances which could be used, such as aromatic woods, barks, herbs, resins, oils or flowers, which release a pleasant odour when burned. Aromatics are recommended as a general incense for a number of the theoi in the hymns, including Adonis, Athena, Dionysos, Triotericus, Eros, the Erinyes, the Morai, Hestia, the nymphs, and Selene. I'm now going to recite the hymn to Dionysos Perikionios in ancient Greek as best I can, and then follow that with the Thomas Taylor translation in English. Perikionio. Kiklisko vakon perikionion, methithotin, kathmiisi thomos, os elisomenos, peripanti, estisa krateros, phrasmus gais, apopemphos, inika pyrphoros, avgi, ekinise, kthona, pasan, pristiros rhisis, odhanethpame thesmos, apanton elthe maka, vakevta, gegethies, prapithesin. To Dionysos Perikionios. Vakos Perikionios, hear my prayer, who madest the house of Cadmus once thy care. With matchless force his pillars twining round, when burning thunders shook the solid ground. In flaming fountain torrents borne along, propped by the grasp, indissolubly strong. Come, mighty Vakos, to these rites inclined, and bless thy suppliants with rejoicing mind. In the Greek, Dionysos is given the epithet methithotin, wine giver, at the beginning of the hymn, and we find in this hymn references to his two main plants, the vine and the ivy. The hymn describes Dionysos, though as yet unborn, protecting the house of Cadmus from collapse by winding vines of ivy around the pillars to hold them fast. In the Greek, kathmiisi thomos os elisomenos, peripanti, circling around the palace of Cadmus. Estisa krateros, phrasmus, gais, apopemphos. He held everything fast, eliminating the tremors of the earth. Inika pyrphoros, avgi, ekinisi, kthona, pasan, when the fire-bearing splendour shook the whole earth. Euripides' play, the Phoenice, describes in lines 640 to 655 the birth of Dionysos to Semele in the following manner. Cadmus of Tyre came to this land. Here Vromios' mother gave birth, from her union with Zeus. Vromios, round whom the ivy twined its wreaths while he was still a baby, covering him and blessing him in the shades of its green foliage. A scholium, that is an ancient annotation in the margin, to line 651, explains that when the palace was struck by lightning, ivy grew around the columns and hid the newborn Dionysos, protecting him, and that this is why Dionysos was called Perikionios by the Thebans. The hymn to Perikionios suggests that it was Dionysos himself, in the form of the ivy, who protected the house of Cadmus, wrapping around the palace and keeping it stable while the earth shook from Zeus's thunder. Thomas Taylor places Dionysos Perikionios as the Gnostic power in the eighth sphere, with Urania, the muse of astrology and astronomy, as the energising force. It is not clear what Thomas Taylor means by the eighth sphere, but in early Gnosticism, which was influenced by Platonic philosophy, there was a theory of seven heavens and an eighth, which was the supercelestial region called the Ogdoad, which corresponded to the seven planetary spheres with an eighth above them, the sphere of the fixed stars. Thus, to Taylor, Perikionios relates to the realm of the stars, beyond the seven planetary spheres, the place from which the planetary energies emanate, a spiritual force which pervades and winds itself around our souls, keeping us firm and rooted when undergoing the challenges of initiation into the mysteries, which can be an earth-shattering, transformative experience. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.